Up? How you guys doing out there today? This is your boy Roto Beast. I'm here with my boy Jeremy, and we're here to present you our NBA morning shoot around for Friday, January 25th. If you're new to this channel, please make sure and click the subscribe button below. This way you can watch all of our NBA, NFL, and MLB videos. If you haven't came and checked out our website here at dfscheatsheet.com, you're absolutely missing out. We have all the tools to help you compete with the pros day in and day out, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, daily Fanduel and DraftKings cash lineups. Hey, we're truly a one-stop shop for all your DFS needs. So make sure to check out the site here at dfscheatsheet.com. So hey, what up, Jeremy? How you doing out there, man?
I'm good, man. Let's get into it. Let's roll.
Sure, I'm ready to jump into this as well. Got a solid 10-game slate. Real quick, before we do jump into it, if you guys don't mind, please take that quick second for me. Click the like button down below. That helps us out a lot. Really, really appreciate that from you guys. Yeah, man, let's just jump right into it. So we're going to go with the first game we're going to get started with. It's going to be the Washington Wizards going into Orlando to face the Magic. This game has a 218.5 over-under, and Orlando's favored by 3.5 in this one.
Really quick, I mean, look, with James Harden on this slate and all the value that's already popped up, I can't justify playing Bradley Beal at 10-1 when I know that the shooting guard number 1 spot tonight is Harden with no Chris Paul still and the ability to get me 80, 90, 100 fantasy points. It's well within his reach. It just depends on, how the game flow goes. So I can't justify Beal. Ariza at 7,000. With the value on the board has me looking to guys like Kawhi Leonard, even paying up for Giannis. So I'm probably going to stay away from that. I don't mind him if you want to go balanced. I think it's a decent matchup for Ariza. The guy's playing a ton of minutes, playing 40 minutes a game right now. Satoransky at 6,000, not tonight. Decent game last night. Big game last night against the Warriors. He went 8x almost, 47 fantasy points I believe he had. I can't go there tonight though because of the way the bill goes. So I'm not really looking at playing these guys. Sam Decker played minutes. Otto Porter coming off the bench. 7,100 is pretty steep for a bench player. More expensive than the starter Ariza. So Washington's kind of a fade for me.
Yeah, man, for sure. Honestly, I mean, this game. I mean, there's going to be some points scored. I mean, there's some definite plays on the Magic side of things, but I think like most of these guys on both sides of these games are more GPP plays. On the Magic side of things, I mean, I definitely think Vucevic, 10.2, he's going to be going against a young guy in Thomas Bryant. I definitely think this is a spot that Vucevic's going to have a really, really good game. The guy's just been playing very, very well. So I like Vucevic. I think whenever you talk about the Magic, you really pretty much got to start with their best player, and in my opinion, that is Vucevic. Then you got Aaron Gordon, man. I mean, 6,600. I'm not an Aaron Gordon fan, and I've never really played Aaron Gordon. But you know what? Usually he's a $7,500 to $8,000 player. Right now, $6,600. So for GPPs, the guy definitely has 40 fantasy point upside where he can absolutely crush this price tag. So I definitely think that he is in play for GPPs. And then we can also look at Evan Fournier, GPP strictly as well, but 5,800, and he's had some solid run recently, starting to shoot the ball a little bit better, compared to what he was earlier in the year. The minutes are back up. He's playing, anywhere from 32 to 36 minutes a game. With a couple of games he hit 38, 39 minutes, so he's getting his minutes. On the bench side of things, the only guy that I feel you can really look at, you can look at Terrence Ross. This guy's just been on absolute fire. 5,100. We need 25 for him to hit value, and he definitely has 40 fantasy point upside as well. He's playing a consistent 26 to about 30 minutes a game off of the bench. So I like Terrence Ross as a GPP play coming off the bench as well. But I'm just really going to stick with those 4 guys: Terrence Ross, Fournier, Gordon, and Vucevic is going to be the top play for Orlando.
Yeah, I'm ready to move on.
Move on. Next game we're going to go with is going to be the Miami Heat going into Cleveland to face the Cavaliers. This game has a 218 over-under, and Miami's favored by 8.5 in this one.
I'm really not interested here either, to be honest with you. I'm not interested. I mean, you take a look at pricing, and it's like, wow, some of these guys are so fair price, but the production's just not there. I mean, Hassan Whiteside playing 24 minutes over his last 5 games, log jam like we've talked about.
Honestly, right? I mean, I'm not trying to cut you off, but just I mean, it's a super log jam out there in my.
It's a log jam. We've talked about it over and over and over again. There's not a lot to really want to sign up to play here.
Yeah,
There's not.
yeah.
And I'll be honest with you. Outside of Alec Burks at 4.5, I can't really justify anybody else in this game right now.
Yeah, man. I mean, on the Cleveland side of things, I definitely like Alec Burks at 4.5. I definitely think that he's in play. He's a solid player on this slate. The guy's been giving us, he definitely has his down games, but he also has some high upside games as well. So I definitely think that Alec Burks is a guy. He's probably the main focus if you want to look at the Cavaliers. He is strictly a GPP play. The other guy that's kind of popping out to me right now, you can look at Larry Nance. He's a guy that when he was healthy, he got up to like 7,000, 7,500. He's a game time decision, but they're saying that he's more on the probable side of things. And the price tag is low right now, 5,000. They're saying that it's a good chance he's going to come back today. The one thing I will note, compared to like last night, Rondo came back from a lengthy injury, but it was in his hand. So when Rondo came back last night, he wasn't on a minutes limit. He played very well, played a ton of minutes. In the Larry Nance's case, he's coming off a knee injury, so that's what's concerning me a little bit. I don't think that, this is one of their young stars that they have in Cleveland. I don't think they're just going to throw him right in the fire and say, hey, play 35 minutes. I definitely think he'll take a couple games to kind of get back into the things. But Larry Nance is a really, he's over a point per minute fantasy player. So if he's even going to play 25 minutes at a 5,000 price tag, he's in play. And if Larry Nance is ruled out, we know Tristan Thompson's out. You can look at Zizic as well. The guy has been playing very well for the most part. But outside of that, yeah, I'm ready to move on as well. Next game we're going to go with is going to be the New York Knicks going into Brooklyn to face the Nets. This game has a 223 over-under, and Brooklyn's favored by 9 in this one.
So we don't have any news on Moutier. And I actually like this game. I'm just going to tell you like this.
I like this game too.
These two teams play each other, and there's a lot of points scored. There's a lot of offense. There's a lot of fantasy goodness. So I like this game. The problem that we have with it is, you take a look at Enes Kanter, and the guy was a DNP the other night in a fairly good spot where look, some of the tournaments I play in, I'm playing with guys that are the pros in this industry, right? And when you play in these big dollar tournaments, you can see, who they're on and what the ownership is. And when these guys have Enes Kanter on that night and he's owned like 18%, it's kind of like, what the hell did everybody, how do we miss this? Because
real quick, I don't want to cut you off. Just just as far as in his Kanter thing, we had him on DraftKings that night in double ups. He was like 45% owned in double ups. So I just wanted to mention that, like, he was. A lot of people were on him. It wasn't like we were just on him, or one or two people were on him.
My point in saying that is, a lot of the pros that do this for a living are a lot of the guys that are the talking heads in this industry. So if you go on a site and you see that they're playing, a good indicator of ownership is you go and you get in a high dollar entry and you see, okay, you know what? All the pros are on this guy as well. It was a pretty good decision, right? And then he doesn't play. So my point in mentioning it is, you don't know what the hell is going to happen here, right? If a guy, and with Enes Kanter, I believe it came out the day before that he was going to start for Cornette, and then it comes out that Lance Thomas, like 10 minutes before lock, that Lance Thomas is going to start, and then Enes Kanter becomes a DNP. So, we don't know what the hell is going to go on here with the Knicks, which by default makes them all GPP plays across the board. I like the game. That's as far as I'm going to get into it. I don't care who you want to pick because I don't have any further idea than anybody else does about what they're going to do as far as rotation and minutes go, but they're good for GPPs. I like the game a lot. I think there'll be a lot of points scored. Your guess is as good as mine as far as who plays and who doesn't.
Yeah, for sure. And on the Brooklyn side of things, so it's looking like Spencer Dinwiddie is going to be out. So I mean that kind of opens up a little bit of things.
Dinwiddie is out.
Officially ruled out now. Okay.
He's not officially ruled out, but he has torn ligaments in his thumb. Yeah. The guy's not playing. That's everything I've read from their beat reporters are that he has torn ligaments in his thumb. He's listed as a game time decision, but he's not playing.
So you can look at a guy like Joe Harris. You can look at a guy possibly like Karukas. Jared Allen. I'm not really into those guys though. For me, I'm looking at 2 guys on the Nets and 2 guys only. You look at D'Angelo Russell. If you want to pay up, he's a guy you pay up for. The guy has had really good games, against the Knicks in the past. And then this guy's just been on absolute fire. In 5 of his past 6 games, he's got you at least 45 fantasy points. That's just showing you the upside that he's giving you. And on this price tag, we need about 42. And it's crazy because I still think he gives us tournament upside on this high price tag on him. He's going to get, 30, 25, 30 shots maybe this game. He's going to play probably close to 40 minutes. He's going to play a lot. The other guy that I'm really, really liking is going to be Shabazz Napier. I think this guy's going to be the drop spot that a lot of people are going to go to today. 3,800. He's going to get some minutes. I know his minutes have been down recently, but he had got hurt, came back. Some other guys came back, so he wasn't really getting the same minutes. But before that, before he got hurt, I mean, he had a stretch of 6, 7 games where he was playing at least 23 to 28 minutes. Had a high of 32. He had a 33-minute game, a 32-minute game. So I'm not going to say he's going to play those kind of minutes. I would guess to say he's going to play about 25 minutes today. But even 25 minutes on a $3,800 price tag, we played Napier in the past a lot last year when Lillard was out. This guy's a really, really good fantasy points per minute monster. So I definitely think that Napier gets a major bump with Dinwiddie out. He's going to come off the bench and get it, in my opinion, be a significant factor in their rotation in the guard spot. So for me, Nets, I'm going to stick with love Napier. If you want to pay down, if you want to pay up, I like D'Angelo Russell. And that's really it for me on the Nets.
Yeah, I'm moving on.
Okay, next game we're going with, it's going to be the Sacramento Kings going into Memphis to face the Grizzlies. This game has a 214.5 over under, and Memphis is favored by 2.5 in this one.
If Marvin Bagley does start tonight, I absolutely love him at 5.8. Bagley's played really well. He just played really well. And part of that he's played well is he's had 2 really good matchups, started against Toronto. Toronto, just look, I was going to mention this yesterday, but we weren't on this slate yet. Power forwards are doing really well against Toronto. Athletic power forwards are doing really well. Just take a look at the last 2 games. You got Bagley and you got, what's his name? I can't think of his name. Thaddeus Young, who go absolutely bonkers against him. So I love Marvin Bagley at 5.8. De'Aaron Fox in 3 games so far this year against Memphis. He's averaged 40.33 fantasy points against them. 7.6, very, very good price for a guy who's averaged 40 in 3 games against Memphis already this year. And I like this game to be competitive. I think that this game is going to go over for the simple fact that you got 2 guys in Conley and Gasol on the other side there's trade rumors all around them, and they're going to – human nature, right? They want to get the hell out of there. And they're going to play their ass off to bring their value up, so somebody will come get them and get them the hell out of there. So I think this game scores a lot, possibly goes over. To me, I'm looking at De'Aaron Fox. I'm looking at Buddy Hield. I'm looking at Marvin Bagley. I don't mind Shumpert at all in tournaments ever, just because he does give you the opportunity where he can get you a 6, 7, 8, 9 X night. So I think Sacramento, for the most part, all their starters are in play. Bogdanovich is playing out of his mind. I think he's a very low-owned option tonight. Has a very good chance of – the guy's assist numbers in his last 3 games are through the roof. They just are. The guy's – he's had some crazy assist games. Had a crazy assist game against Brooklyn, a crazy assist game against Toronto. So, I like Sacramento tonight. I think this game is off the radar. It's sandwiched between some other good games like, New York and Brooklyn early. And then you've got, Phoenix and Denver with what's going on there, Toronto and Houston, what's going on there. I think this game goes a little under-owned, and a De'Aaron Fox, a Marvin Bagley, and a Buddy Hield go under-owned.
Yeah, and then on the Grizzlies side of things, I mean, you said it. Marc Gasol, Mike Conley, both of them guys in play. Both of them, I mean, Mike Conley, I would say, is a tiny bit overpriced. But these guys are playing their asses off right now. They're both playing very, very well. I definitely think you can look at both of those guys. Outside of them two, the only other guy I really like on the Memphis side of things is Jaren Jackson. This young guy has some upside. You need 30 for him to hit value. He has 40 fantasy point upside. So I like him in this spot. I definitely think he's a solid GPP play. Outside of that, I'm not really interested in the Grizzlies. I think that if Garrett Temple is out, Justin Holiday, he already starts next to Garrett Temple, but I think that if Garrett Temple is out, Justin Holiday will get a couple extra minutes. If he's going to get some minutes, we see Justin Holiday, with the Bulls. Yes, he has those games where he disappears and he absolutely does nothing but stands in the corner. But we've seen those 40 fantasy point upside games when he gets hot from the 3-point line. He'll get you a couple steals, a couple of rebounds. So I definitely think if Garrett Temple is out, that makes Justin Holiday a better play. But outside of that, I'm not really too interested in the Grizzlies besides those four guys.
I'm going to tell you right now that Justin Holiday is in a lot of my tournament lineups at 4.9 because you said if Garrett Temple is out, he's going to get an increase in minutes. He can't get a bigger increase in minutes than he's already got in 3 of the last 4 games. He's played at least 35 minutes in 3 of the last 4 games and 37 and 40 minutes in the last 2 games. So his minutes are through the roof. The problem with him is, like you said, he can go over there and stand in a corner and not be very active. But in a game like this against Sacramento where guards have done really well, look at Van Vliet the other night against them, did extremely well. You look at D'Angelo Russell, Spencer Dinwiddie, those guys played well in the Brooklyn game. They give up points to guards. I don't mind Holiday at all, and I think that he's going to be a low-owned player that has a really good opportunity to get 30 fantasy points tonight.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm with you. Moving on, next game we're going to roll to is going to be the Los Angeles Clippers going into Chicago to face the Bulls. This game has a 221 and a half over under. Sorry, I was doing that in my head. So it has a 221 and a half over under, and the Clippers are favored by 5 in this one.
So let's take a look at one thing really quick, okay? Tobias Harris is the best play here, and I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why. Starting off with, we have not had a mid-tier small forward all year that's been worth his weight in gold. You could take a look at the guys who have been in this price range for the most part. It's been Gallinari, who's been 7,500 to 7,000 all year long. You've got T.J. Warren, who's kind of creeped up, all the way up to 7,500. He's been a $6,000 player. The guy's been in great spots and hasn't really lived up to value. You've got all these guys who, there's never been we have not had all year a mid-tier small forward to play. When we play small forwards, it's always picking up. Who's the guy we're paying up? Durant, Giannis, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and who's the guy we can match him with that's a value play? Tobias Harris at 7.9. The reason I love him so much is because he's not listed as a power forward and log gem up with other guys. He's a great mid-tier small forward play who's absolutely killing it. And just like I said, against Dallas, he had a terrible shooting night. I said he's going to rebound, and he did. Absolutely went bonkers, 40 fantasy points at a $7,000 price tag. So this is the best play on the Clippers for me. Tobias Harris, he's their best player right now by far. It's not even a question. You can also look at Harrell, Beverly. Those are 2 other guys I have no problem with, and then Lou Williams. Outside of those 4, I don't have a lot of interest in other spots.
Yeah, no, I really like Tobias Harris. That's a play. I'm really on Tobias Harris for sure. On the Chicago side of things, there's a couple guys we could look at. There's about 4 guys I'm looking at. First thing first, you could look at Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine. Both of them are fair priced. You got the point guard and shooting guard. One thing about Zach LaVine, since Chris Dunn came back, the usage has went down. That's kind of why the production has been down a little bit. But I definitely think that both of these guys can have solid games. At a fair price tag. Then you can look at Lloyd Markkanen. The young guy came back from injury. He's just been playing very, very well. Hasn't looked back. Markkanen is probably going to be my favorite play on the Bulls just because I like his consistency. I like his upside. And then 2 more guys I'll quickly throw in there. Robin Lopez, 3,600. He's pretty much bare minimum. This is a guy, when he gets minutes, he produces. Last game, the minutes kind of got buzzed off. They went with Portis. So he only played 15 minutes, got 7 fantasy points. But, in the previous games before that, 2 of the 3 games, he played 23, 19 minutes, and he got you 25 and 27. If he gets you a 25 or a 27 on 3.6 price tag, that's 7x, 8x almost. So I definitely think that Lopez has a little bit of upside, probably more of a strictly GPP play. And, the reason, is because Bobby Portis pretty much is Lopez's backup right now. They decided to start Lopez. And Portis is a really good player. They like playing this guy minutes. And when they get the opportunity to, when they play a team that's going to go a little bit smaller, such as the Clippers. I see the Clippers are going to go smaller and go with Harris and Harrell down low. I could definitely see Portis matching up with Harrell at the center spot. So I definitely think Portis does have upside. in this game. I mean, like I said, you see last game, he didn't start, but he still played 33 minutes. So I like him as well, but that's really where I'm at with the Bulls. It's Portis off the bench, and then you can look at, Marketing, Chris Dunn, Levine, and then, Lopez is kind of like a wild card you could throw in there.
Yep.
Next game.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Do you still like – look, I get it with Lopez, 3.6 starting. If he gets minutes, yada, yada, yada. But let me ask you this. Do you like him at all if he's only going to play the first half like he did the other night when he started?
No. If he's just going to play the first half only, then no, I don't like him.
Do you think that's their plan? Because it's kind of crazy, right? Like they're starting him, and then Portis starts the second half.
Well, like for me personally, I think they're just kind of matchup based, and that's what I was saying. If the Clippers start Harrell tonight, then I could see them going right back and starting Portis. But if the Clippers go with like a Gobert no, I'm sorry, not Gobert, Gortat or like a Boban, for example, then they're gonna have to go with Robin Lopez because he's much bigger.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I think it's gonna kind of be matchup based.
Yeah.
Okay, so next game we're gonna go with is going to be – is pretty much the main event we got on the slate. This is the Toronto Raptors going into Houston to face the Rockets. This game has a 230 over-under, and Toronto's favored by 3 in this one.
This is the ESPN game?
I think so.
So, I mean, coming off rest, you got to like Kawhi Leonard. Is not like he hasn't played because of injury. He's played, and if you saw the interview with their head coach said the guy didn't play any games last year, and he's played already like 20-something games this year, 30 games this year, and they just want to make sure that he's not overwhelmed and he has his legs for their postseason run, blah, 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 blah. So it's not like he didn't play because he had something that was bugging him. He just didn't play because they want to rest him. So at 10-3, you really got to like him in this spot tonight. There's going to be a ton of points scored. It's a 3-point spread. 230 points are what we got the over and under at. Kyle Lowry in play, very fair price tag for him. Without a guy like Chris Paul to defend him, you have to like him at 7-5. Ibaka and Siakam, you have to like both of them. There's not a center. We've mentioned that. Ibaka and Siakam, both very skilled big guys. Their front court is much more skilled than PJ Tucker, Kenneth Faried, James Ennis, and any other guy they can roll out there. So they're in a really good spot. I love playing players like a Danny Green, Garrett Temple, defensive players against Houston because of how many shots they take and how many three-pointers they take. It gives a guy like Danny Green, who's a really good defender, can get you steals, can get you rebounds, can get you, some assists. And if he gets hot in a game that's going back and forth, he can knock down some threes. So I do like playing Danny Green as well. Van Vliet, if you want to play him, if he's going to come off the bench and you want to play him at 4.5 tonight, I don't have a problem with it in tournaments as a pivot play. But look, with all their guys back tonight and Leonard and Lowry both playing, it's hard to go past Van Vliet off the bench. But my focus in this one is really on Faried. I don't mind 6'2", watching Marvin Bagley and watching Thaddeus Young absolutely smash against Toronto.
Yeah. So I mean, on the Rockets side of things, yeah, man. I mean, I like Kenneth Faried, 6,200. If he's gonna get the start, they haven't announced if Nene's in or not. Even if I'm just gonna say something, they may start Nene. Even if they do start Nene, though, they've shown they don't want to play the guy more than 15 minutes. So whether Faried starts or comes off the bench, he's gonna get a lot of minutes. And he's a very active player. He showed us last game. He gets those defensive stats. 6,200 is not a give me price tag. And in all honesty, 6,200 for Faried versus 6,200 for Siakam at the same price. I'm going Siakam. I just feel a lot more comfortable with Siakam and his role with the Raptors. They play him a ton of minutes compared to Faried. Yes, he got some minutes last game, but Nene was out, and if Nene's back, he may get a couple less minutes. But I still think that Faried is a good play. I like him. And the only other guys I'm really going to look at, you can look at Eric Gordon, 5.4. This guy has 40 fantasy point upside. Right after James Harden, he's their second best scorer, and he gets unlimited shots pretty much. And so I think that Eric Gordon is going to, get to start, play a decent game. And then you look at the guy himself, James Harden. The big question you got to ask yourself, is he worth $14,000? Because $14,000, we need about 70 just for him to hit value. And 70 is a big number. But if you look at his game log, I mean, in the past 7 games, he's got you 70 every game but one game against Philadelphia where they got blown out. He just had a bad game. But outside of that, the guy's just putting up monster numbers right now. And if you could fit him in your lineup, I mean, I wouldn't blame you at all. I would just throw him in there, throw some value around him, and just kind of move on. But outside of that, I'm not really interested in nobody else. On the Rockets, you can look at Gerald Green. He's a guy that comes off the bench and gets a ton of shots up. But this is just really not a Gerald Green kind of game for me. I like him more in like run and gun kind of games, and I think this is going to be a little bit more of a slow paced half court game. Raptors are a pretty good defense, as you mentioned. So that's really where I'm at, man. It's just Harden, Gordon, a little bit of Fareed and GPP, and just kind of move on.
So the one thing I did is I took a look back at what James Harden did against San Antonio 2 years ago when Kawhi was fully engaged. And he averaged in the 4 games they played, he averaged 29, 7, and 8. If he gets 29, 7, and 8 against Kawhi against it, he always played well against the Spurs, and people always faded him in that spot against the Spurs, and he always played well. So to me, what dictates playing hard or not tonight is how much solid value is on the board. Because if there's enough solid value and cash, you can't fade him. You can't. We're talking about Russell Westbrook last year all over again. He's playing at too high of a level. He's averaging 52, 9, and 4 in his last 5 games. That's insane. The one thing I wanted to add about Fareed, bro, is Fareed's first game with Houston was against Philadelphia, and he played 23 minutes in his first game with them. His second game was a couple nights ago, and he played 26 minutes without Nene. Nene against Philadelphia played 8 minutes, and then they rested the next day. So I'm not real concerned about Fareed's minutes one way or the other.
Yeah, but one thing I do want is because I watched that game against Philadelphia, Fareed got like hella early ass foul trouble, and they just really stayed away from him. My
point is, it's his first game. He got 23 minutes. His second game, he got 26 minutes. This is a guy who's really been sitting for basically the last calendar year and not playing. I think that his minutes are just going to continue to increase. And I think that this guy is going to become a solid player for them down the stretch, even when they get their guys back.
Yeah, I think so too. Because they're all year they've been starting PJ Tucker at the small forward, and PJ Tucker's not really a small forward. They've been starting PJ Tucker at the power forward spot, and PJ Tucker is more of a small forward. I definitely could see him. I think he works well in that rotation. You throw Fareed, PJ Tucker, Capella. They're pretty much 3 really good defenders right there. And then you have, the scorers in Harden and CP3. So I agree. I like that. I like that call.
I would trade Chris Paul so fast if I was the Rockets. I'd get rid of him.
Well, you could get something solid for Chris Paul. You know what I mean?
You could make your bench really good.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. So, hey, moving on to the next game. Next game we're going to go with is going to be the Detroit Pistons going into Dallas to face the Mavericks. This game has a 207.5 over under, and Dallas is favored by 4.5 in this one.
I'm just moving on, bro. I'm going to be honest with you. Drummond's coming back. Drummond against Jordan. That to me, they're the same type of player. They both shoot free throws terribly. They both get rebounds. They both don't score a ton of points. They both can get you very solid double-doubles, but it's not like overwhelming double-doubles with DeAndre Jordan. Drummond, he's not been overwhelming where he's met value with his price. He's probable coming off a concussion. Outside of that, I can't get behind anybody on the Detroit side tonight. I just can't.
Yeah, and then on Dallas side of things, you can look at Dennis Smith. He's under 6,000. The thing about him is they're trying to trade the guy. They're gonna play him some minutes, try to showcase him a little bit. He came back.
I don't think he's on the block anymore. I don't think that they're gonna. I think that's why they brought him back in the rotation. Like what I read was they were trading him. They were DNPing the guy, and then. I don't think they got anything they wanted for it. Like I don't think any of the discussions they had with anybody was worth anything, and they just said, you know what, he doesn't have a lot of value in a trade in the first place. He's only been in the league for a year, and he's a good player, but he doesn't have a lot of value right now. What do you want for him? So I think they're just playing him now. They're going to play him. They're down Barea, who that had to change things, right? They're going to play him.
So I'll just make it quick and simple for you with the Dallas side of things. I like Dennis Smith Jr. I like Doncic. The guy has triple-double upside, 50 fantasy point upside any night. 9,000 a steep price tag. So I think he's more of a GPP play, but I like him. Harrison Barnes underpriced, 5,500. We need about 27 for value. I like him in this spot. I'm gonna stay away from DeAndre Jordan going against Drummond and Blake Griffin. So for me, it's just Dennis Smith, Doncic, and then you could throw in a little bit of Barnes, and that's about it for me.
Really like Doncic. Really like Doncic. One quick thing I'm going to say to one of the comments we got. Nick Saban also said there was not a chance in hell he was taking the Alabama job when he went to Miami. And don't believe coaches, man. Don't believe coaches.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so next game we're going to go with is going to be the Charlotte Hornets going into Milwaukee to face the Bucks. This game has a 230.5 over under, and Milwaukee's favored by 11 in this one.
This is such a game for me, dude. It really is. And to be honest with you, the guy that I like a lot is Tony Parker. That's the guy I like a lot. I like Tony Parker a ton. I'm not excited. I mean, are you excited to play Biyombo tonight? Are you excited to play Batum against Giannis and Middleton? Are you excited to play Marvin Williams, who doesn't really do crap? But I mean, Marvin Williams is pretty much exactly like Brook Lopez, a big guy who likes to shoot threes. Jeremy Lamb is a guy I could possibly get behind at 5.6, but there's other value that I'm more interested in at shooting guard. And Kimba on the road, this is a for me. I'm not into it.
Yeah, I mean, the scary part for me, I like Giannis, but I definitely think that this game could get out of hand, and that's what scared me about Giannis. But when we talk about Milwaukee, it's going to be the same guys that we always talk about. You got Eric Bledsoe, 7.7. I definitely think he's in play. Chris Middleton, he's the guy of all the Milwaukee guys. I think I'm most interested in Chris Middleton. His price is down right now, $6,500. This is usually a $7,500 player. I understand the production's been down a little bit, but he's not having crazy, horrible production where he's only scoring 10 fantasy points. He's still getting you mid-20s. He hasn't really had no monster games lately. This guy, at the end of the day, is their second best scorer. I like Middleton. I think he's my number one favorite play on this slate just because the price tag is not up. So from Milwaukee, Middleton would be my number one. Giannis would be my number two. That would just be based off of price. Then you could throw in Bledsoe, and you can also throw in Brogdon. Brogdon's been playing very, very well this season, giving you a solid floor as well. That's really it for me, man. It's the four main guys, and I don't want you guys to think I was saying that Middleton is an overall better play than Giannis from Milwaukee. I'm just thinking about price-wise. I feel that Middleton's a little bit underpriced compared to Giannis is a premier price, and the game could turn into a blowout. So that's it. Those four guys. For me, on Milwaukee. Possibly you could throw in, Brook Lopez as a GPP play, but I'm not really going to go that route.
Yeah, and just to kind of back up some comments real quick, MKG, I mean, look, man, the guy's got you like 8 and 7 fantasy points in his last 2 games and not really even reaching the 20-minute mark. Can't really get behind that. And Biyombo, look, they're playing Willie Hernangomez 18 minutes and Biyombo 21. It's a split situation. So it's hard to get behind this in a game that could possibly blow out where guys aren't getting a ton of minutes. I will say though, I think Giannis is very fair price. I think that Brogdon is extremely fair price, but I think they're both fair. I don't think they're under or over. I think they're both very fair price, good spots.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on to the next game. This game is actually probably one of the more interesting games on the slate. It's going to be Phoenix Suns going into Denver to face the Nuggets. This game has a 225.5 over under. Denver is favored by 14.5, and this really goes with our rule. We always say we don't like playing teams on a back-to-back going into Denver with the altitude.
That's the number one reason why with Jokic suspended, that's the number one reason why the spread is 14.5. It has been proven over a long period of time that teams are like 1-73 or something like that go into Denver on the second half of a back-to-back. It's difficult, it's altitude, etc. This is a tough spot. There's a lot of value here. There's going to be a lot of minutes played, but altitude and tired legs is a very, very bad situation. It's very difficult to get behind some of these Phoenix guys. Their prices are fair. The one thing to take into consideration here is, they don't have a big man in this game. They don't. Ayton's out. The one guy that I'm looking to play a lot is Rashawn Holmes. If he's going to start tonight, he's closer to probable. You got Melton out. That means Booker's back to being the point guard. Josh Jackson is really good at the shooting guard spot when he's playing there, and Booker's playing the point. So I like that, but these are GPP plays only on the Phoenix side of it, because it is not good history speaking when you go into Denver on the second half of a back-to-back. And it's really hard to get behind anybody tonight besides Mason Plumlee at 4.3 at this. I mean, he's just in a crush spot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm close to Mason Plumlee, almost 150 lines to kind of move on type thing.
I just don't see. I mean, I just don't see.
He's too cheap.
Where else to go? It's too cheap for the opportunity.
No, I think he has to be your star center in cash games. I mean, even in GPPs, he has the upside. So on different side of things, you kind of summed it up for me. I like Mason Plumlee a lot. One more guy I really like a lot, under 6,000, Paul Millsap. You mentioned it. Suns don't have no sitters, so I could see Mason Plumlee going out. They could possibly put Millsap as a big man.
Hey, I don't want to interrupt you, but let me just say this, bro. Millsap is gonna have to have a good game before I can hop on that, and I'll tell you why. I've watched the last two Denver games, and I've watched Millsap, and I thought Millsap was in a really good spot through the night, and I had him 100% of my lineups in qualifiers, and he got pushed around by Joe Ingles, man. He got pushed around by Joe Ingles all night long. He got pushed around by Joe Ingles. He can't get in the paint. Joe Ingles kept him out the paint. And look, if he was getting pushed around by Derek Favors, I'd be like, okay, it was Derek Favors, is another big. It's a good spot because Phoenix doesn't have a Derek Favors body that's going to push him around. But dude, if he's getting pushed around by Joe Ingles, Josh Jackson and Dragon Bender, they're not like small little bodies. You know what I mean? Like, they're bigger than Joe Ingles.
Not Josh Jackson, but I agree with Bender. Bender's a pretty big dude.
Josh Jackson's a big dude, man. He's a big dude.
But he's like hell skinny though.
I mean, Joe Ingles ain't the most stout, like Venice Beach, like muscle-bound dude either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get you. So with Jokic out though, they are going to need, there's a lot of points.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of rebounds. So I think that kind of gives some of the other guys a boost. So I'm just going to kind of roll with, you got Gary Harris back. 4,400. I think that he's a guy that you can look at. It's just all about minutes with him. But, I mean, my favorite guys are going to be Mason Plumlee, obviously, is by far number one. Then you look at Jamal Murray, and you look at a kind of a discounted price right now as well. Paul Millsap. And then if Gary Harris is going to get some decent minutes, then you can look at him. And then Will Barton as well. If he's going to get some decent minutes, then you go look at him. I mean, he played 29 minutes last game against Utah. So his minutes are starting to trend back up. So I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I have to do a little bit more digging. I don't know exactly what to do with Will Barton and Gary Harris as of this very moment. But I know both of them are underpriced and both of them have some upside going against the Suns. And then, like I said, Jamal Murray, Millsap, and you got to love Mason Plumlee.
I'm going to be honest with you. If you're playing 150 lineups tonight, make sure that you put Torrey Craig in a few, make sure you put Malik Beasley in a few, and make sure you definitely put Monte Morris in a few. Because of the minutes they're already playing, and if the game does blow out, look, Jokic isn't playing. I understand that, right? And we're not telling you this because if this game was in Phoenix, it'd be a different story. But it's in Denver on a back-to-back. The numbers are terrible. So the game does blow out. You're going to get a lot of minutes out of Monte Morris. You're going to get a lot of minutes out of Malik Beasley because they're not going to play Gary Harris and Will Barton a ton of minutes if they don't have to tonight. They're just not.
Hey, I got a question for you just before we leave this game. We're good on the Denver, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just one quick question. What do you think about this guy, Okobo, who's going to start for Phoenix?
We've seen it. I mean, we've seen Okobo play and start before, and before they found DeAnthony Melton, Okobo got some run, and I think he even got a couple of starts. So, look, he's a space filler. That's the way I look at it. To me, you want to talk about Justin Holiday standing off in the corner. Okobo turns the ball over. He does. This game is going to be, to me, Devin Booker will handle the basketball. You're going to get Josh Jackson, who's going to slice and dice. Dragon Bender will kind of pick and roll perimeter play type deal. And I don't see Okobo getting a lot of ball handling time.
Okay. No, I'm just asking. I mean, I've seen him pop up in projections, and so I was like, let me just get his.
Jamal Crawford is like, I think in this spot, Jamal Crawford may be more interesting than Okobo.
Jamal Crawford, okay.
Because Jamal Crawford's been playing, right? I mean, he's been playing, and he's gotten some decent minutes. The other night, he had a decent game. What did he do the other night? The other night against it was a Minnesota game. He 23 minutes, 15 fantasy points. But I mean, he's 21, 21, 23 in his last couple games. Why they've had a short side. You got a guy at 3.5. That's a Jamal Crawford that we know he made a career out of scoring, right? So I mean, this is it for him. He's most likely retiring, and you got a spot where he could get 20 to 25 minutes tonight if the game blows out. A guy that can score the basketball against, the likes of Malik Beasley and, maybe a Yancho Hernangomez who's probable now, Torrey Craig. Like, Jamal Crawford's a veteran scorer.
Yeah. So just to kind of finish this off, I think personally I'd rather find $200 more and go with Napier over Okobo.
Absolutely all day.
And my last thought on the Nuggets side of things, I really like Will Barton. 5,000. I like Will Barton a lot in this spot. I definitely think that he's going to get close to 30 minutes in this game. 20. They're going to give him at least 25. If the game for some way, some shape, somehow, no Jokic stays close, I definitely think Will Barton could get 30 minutes. He's just underpriced. I definitely think that Will Barton has a lot more opportunity to get more run compared to Gary Harris. I mean, Barton just played 29 minutes the last game, and we know the upside that he kind of gives us. Moving on to the next game.
Hey, bro, let me just say one thing. Let me say one last thing on this game. If you want to stack this game in tournaments, I recommend doing it a couple times for a couple of reasons. Even if this game blows out, which very likelihood it will, they've only got like 8 guys tonight. They've got Troy Daniels, Jamal Crawford, they've got Kelly Oubre, and they've got their starting 5. That's really what they have. Like, they've got like 8 guys they're going to play tonight. So the minutes are going to be there for these guys. It's going to be a matter of, are they quality minutes, garbage minutes, whatever, is the game blowout. But even if it does, Devin Booker 8-3 is still a good play. He's still a good play. He's going to get minutes tonight unless he fouls out or does something stupid. Josh Jackson, good. Like, this is a perfect game stack because I think everybody's going to fade Denver tonight.
Yeah. I'm on Denver. But like I said, without the Jokic, I love the Denver team.
Outside of Mason Plumlee, though, like, what can you guarantee? Jamal Murray and Mason Plumlee is what you could probably guarantee. But right. This game, I don't see people jumping all over this because of the spread.
Yeah. No, I get you. I definitely get you for sure. All right, so moving on, last game of the night we're going to go with is going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves going into Utah to face the Jazz. This game has a 219.5 over under, and Utah's favored by 9.5 in this one.
It's another tough one, man. This is another tough spot. I mean, what do you want to do with Minnesota on a back-to-back? You got news we got to wait for. Derrick Rose, last night with the ankle injury. Jeff Teague didn't play. What are you going to do here? I think you can look at a couple of things, and it's really news-based. A Wiggins, a Kogi, they get a boost, obviously, if Rose and Teague don't play. You also got Tyus Jones in the mix, already been ruled out. So, there's 3 guys there. And you start talking about, like we're talking about with Phoenix, and it's a shorter rotation. So you could look at Jared Bayless all day long if Rose and Teague don't play. It's a great spot for Jared Bayless. Mentioned him yesterday and the day before. The guys played well. But I'm not looking to pay up 11-1 for Towns against Gobert, and Wiggins against Mitchell, Rubio, and Ingles. I don't really like that either. So for me, looking at Jared Bayless, monitor the news. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really good spots, but I mean, I'm not really feeling this game. I see Minnesota on the second end of a back-to-back. They're going to be really banged up. So yeah, I mean, Utah. We'll start with. I mean, you start with their main guys. You got Donovan Mitchell. He's been playing very, very well. Gobert is a game time decision right now. Let me see what's going on with him real quick. One thing I want to note really quick before it even comes up, he's sore hamstring, so he doesn't know. So if he's out, if Gobert's out, then it depends on what they do. If they start Favors and they go small and put Crowder at the power forward, I would absolutely love Favors Favors in this spot. Whenever Favors gets minutes, he produces crazy. It's just all about he doesn't ever get the minutes. If they start this guy Udo, I'm gonna tell you something about this guy Udo. I know,
hey bro, if they start Udo, lock him in.
yeah, even more than Plumlee.
Absolutely.
No, yeah. So that's some news you gotta pay attention to. This is if, like I said, you heard it from me. Jeremy was thinking the exact same thing as me. If Udo starts, you lock him in, you move on. The guy will absolutely crush if he gets to start. If Derek Favors gets to start at center, he's going to get some extra minutes. I definitely think that he's in play. And then, if that's the case, then you could look at a guy like Crowder. You can look at a guy like Eagles. They may play a little small ball. Minnesota's going to play some small ball as well. And then, like I said, Donovan Mitchell, 8,500. The guy's playing lights out. And that's really it for me, man. Cool?
Yeah.
Hey, well, that's it, man. We got today's 10-game slate wrapped up in a nutshell. Me and Jeremy will be back shortly with our NBA Live segment, kind of touching up on some injury news, answering some questions in about 45 minutes. So please make sure and tune into that. If you don't have time or we don't talk to you before then, hey, man, good luck on your guys' contest tonight, all right? All right, guys. Peace out.